Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar on secure cloud development using GitLab automation on OCI. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tara Van Cleve and I am a marketing event manager for the developer initiative here at Oracle. Today we're excited to delve into DevSecOps practices as they are related to secure software supply chain and shift left security, as well as utilizing and protecting high-powered compute. We'll also be recording the session, and the link to the recording will be sent to you via email in the next couple of days. If you have any questions during the webinar, we've set up a channel in our developer public Slack called Webinar GitLab Automation that you can access at the QR code here or at bit.ly/odevrel_Slack. And once you're in, you'll land in the general channel, and from there can search for the webinar channel. We'll also be checking the Zoom chat and Zoom Q&A areas throughout the webinar, and we'll open up for live Q&A after the presentation. Today's webinar will be presented by Abubakar Siddiq Ango, Developer Evangelist at GitLab, Taylor McCaslin, Group Manager of Product in the Data Science section at GitLab, and Farouk Nafi, Principal Cloud Architect at Oracle. So without further ado, I will first hand it over to Farouk.
Thanks very much, Tara, for the introduction. So the idea is that over the next few slides, I'll quickly talk about some of the key OCI differentiators, and then I'll hand it over. So currently, OCI by far has the largest footprint as far as the hypervisors or hyperscalers are concerned. So currently, we have 45 regions across the globe, and 7 more are planned, which should be available in the next few months. Then we also have a partnership with Microsoft Azure, and we have the Microsoft Azure Interconnect in 12 of the regions that can be used to have the active kind of a setup within OCI and Azure. And it gives you less than 2 milliseconds of latency. And if you look closely, then Oracle has the strategy to empower customers to have the data residency, to meet their data residency requirements. And that's why we have multiple regions within each country, or most of the countries. This is especially true if you look at Japan, Australia, South Korea, Singapore, and Saudi Arabia. So we have multiple regions. So if you're doing active, passive kind of a setup, you never have to leave the country when it comes to the data residency requirements. And lastly, Oracle is committed to the use of renewable energy for its data centers, and hopefully by 2025, all the data centers would be on renewable energy. Alrighty, so these are some of the key differentiators that sets OCI apart from its competition out in the market. So I'm going to skip networking for now because I have the next slide coming up that specifically talks about networking. But let's quickly move to flexible infrastructure. So OCI essentially gives the customers the ability to come and bake their own shape on OCI when it comes to the CPU and memory requirements. So you don't really have to live with all the cookie cutter configurations that all the other hyperscalers throw at you. And when it comes to data egress, Oracle is by far the most generous of all and gives you 10 terabytes of data egress free of cost per month. And after 10 terabytes, the egress fees are literally pennies and dimes. And as far as pricing is concerned for Oracle resources, they are consistent across the globe. So you are not hit with any element of surprise when it comes to your billing and estimates. And again, when it comes to supports, you don't really have to spend your fortune to get support for OCI. It's already included with the base fee. Alrighty, so these are some of the networking capabilities within OCI. So off-box network virtualization is something that Oracle came up with its Gen 2 infrastructure. And the idea is that the I/O and network virtualization has been taken off the Hyper-V onto its own dedicated hardware. So that's why it's more secure and more performant, because Hyper-V is doing nothing else but serving the individual virtual machines, and any management overheads, they have been offloaded to its own dedicated hardware. Again, even if you have a noisy neighbor sitting right next to you, you are not going to get impacted because of that, because of the non-blocking networks and also the over-committed VMs. That's not the case in OCI. And as far as the network virtualization is concerned, then Oracle has done the network virtualization at layer 2 in the OCI. So the advantage is that all the Exadata and other appliances, they can be connected directly to the Oracle network and can be used by the customers. And if any of the customer has a dedicated or a high performance computing kind of a requirement, then they can also use certain shapes in OCI that have the RDMA cluster networking capability enabled, which is built on Rocky V2. So you can pretty much bypass the entire network, traditional network, and just access the memory in the other machine using its own dedicated network. Next slide. When it comes to SLA, Oracle is the only cloud provider that gives you three-way SLAs. All the other cloud providers, they only talk about the availability, but Oracle has gone 2 steps ahead, and they also talk about the performance SLAs. Just because your infrastructure is available doesn't mean it's also going to be performant all the time. So we have strict SLAs around that, and then we also have the manageability SLAs that essentially talks about the availability of the control plane. So at any point in time, you should be able to log in and manage your resources. Alrighty. Oracle is committed to the use of open source technologies, and that has been the core principle for OCI. I'll just give you an example that the serverless feature in OCI, it's built on Apache Functions, which is nothing else but an open source project from Apache, and you can use the same Apache functions on-prem or also on the cloud. So there is essentially no vendor lock-in at any point in time. And again, Oracle is by far one of the largest contributor to CNCF projects and also contributing to the Linux Foundation. And again, all the automation technologies like Terraform, Ansible, they are fully supported on OCI. All right. When it comes to pricing, Oracle pretty much has the lowest pricing as compared to all the other cloud providers. And this is especially true if you look at the object storage pricing, then we are probably like around 22%. GCP is like 22% expensive than OCI, and Amazon and Microsoft, they are like 7% expensive. And the biggest difference can also be seen across the data egress charges, where you see that Google is like 10 times more expensive than OCI. So that was like a quick overcap of OCI. And at this point, I'll hand it over back to Tara. And please feel free to check the resources at the end of the slide deck. It talks about implementing live GitLab on OCI. So it gives you pretty much all the step-by-step configuration steps. Tara, over to you.
All right. At this point, we will turn it over to Abu Bakar.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. I am Abu Bakar Siddiq Ango, and I'm here with my colleague, Taylor McCaslin from GitLab. Today, I'll be talking to you about GitLab. Most times when people hear about GitLab, the first thing that comes to mind is source code management and GitLab CI, GitLab CI. But GitLab is much more than that. We cover the entire software delivery lifecycle. And with AI, we are enabling organizations, enterprises, and developers to build secure software faster. Now, in this way, this session, I will be sharing with you some of the features you can take advantage of with GitLab. Now, the first one is collaboration. Before development starts, right from the beginning of a project, right from the ideation stage, organizations or teams need a way to collaborate together instead of working on Google Docs and working on some other platforms or whatever document management system that organizations have. GitLab provides that platform to plan and discuss right where the development will happen, which is on GitLab. Now, so we have features that allows you to do team planning. We have things like issues. We have epics. We have wiki and a number of features that you can take advantage of to ensure that all the planning and everyone within the organization is aware of every stage of the planning process. And you even have the ability to measure and see your DORA metrics to be able to understand where work is being done, how resources have been allocated, and how to forecast and plan future work within the organization. Now, the next one is the development itself, right from when, okay, developers need to start working, how will they work? an organization can enable the productivity of their team members by creating remote development environments that they can connect to and start working. It also allows new hires to be able to hit the ground running because remote development environments have been created for them to just connect to with all the dependencies and all the tools they require to work already set up. They just start working. Now, then when developers have worked on their code, they need a way to be able to review the work. So code review workflow, having the right team members, the right people within the organizations to review code that are being pushed, approve, and be able to escalate within the organization is a critical part of the software development process. And GitLab provides the code review workflow to enable that. Now, next thing is the GitLab runner. It's one of the solutions that we provide at GitLab, allowing you to deploy varying types of runners. Your application might be a multi-architecture project where you have to target different architectures. You can set up different types of runners of different sizes with different RAM or different architecture. Probably you are building an operating system. You want to target ARM, you want to target x64, you want to target different platforms. You can use GitLab CI with GitLab Runner to be able to tag your jobs to run on the runners you've set up. Or you have a system where, you are building mobile applications and you want to target the iOS ecosystem. You can have a dedicated Mac device that is running, that has GitLab Runner set up on it and be able to run your jobs. Or you need AI and machine learning. You are building AI and machine learning applications. You can create runners on platforms like the Oracle Cloud infrastructure and set up highly efficient runners there that can run your jobs, run your payload. Now, then other things that we provide are match trains, for example, match trains. In a lot of situations, match conflicts occur when, especially in projects that has a lot of merge is happening frequently. With match trains, you can queue merges and be able to ensure that they work together before they are finally matched to the target branch. It's one of the features that we provide. And other things that we provide are registries, package registry, container registry. It's not every time you want to host your packages in public packages, public registries. Within GitLab, you can push to your own dedicated registry within your GitLab instance. Yeah, and we support several packaging types, NPM, PyPy for Python, and so on and so forth. And for containers, you can push your container to the container registry, and our container registry is OCI compliant. Now, then from development to security, which is a huge thing that every organization needs to take seriously. And GitLab provides a ton of features, right? From static application security testing to secret detection. And not just detecting the secret, you can configure automatic remediation. So as soon as certain secrets are discovered, they are automatically rotated when connected to those providers, which means it can automatically recognize the secret and initiate remediation of the secret. Now, then other things are code quality, dynamic application security testing, and a ton of other features down to container scanning. I'll be talking more about security in the other part of my presentation. Now, then next is not just enough to run your scans or to scan your application or your code, but governance is highly critical. Being able to understand the structure of your project, the vulnerabilities, the incidents happening within your organization, every activity that is happening, so you can be able to meet either regulatory requirements, compliance requirements, or self-imposed requirements. Yeah, a lot of organizations now, with all the things happening in the world, set higher standards for themselves so that they can be able to maintain the trust given to them by their users or their community. And GitLab enables organizations to be able to maintain that trust by providing features that allows them to enforce governance across their entire software development lifecycle. Features like compliance management, security policy management, and dependency management are just a few of the governance features that GitLab provides. Now, one of the ways recently that we've been enabling organizations to build secure software faster, and my colleague Taylor will talk more about this, is our AI-assisted capabilities across the software development lifecycle. We've been providing capabilities that allow not just the development teams, but also security, operations, and everyone within the organization to be able to work faster with the help of AI. From code suggestion, helping you to complete your functions or writing tests for you, to features like suggested reviewers that is we already have in general availability. It uses AI to be able to check your code anytime you've created a merge request, to suggest to you based on the history of the file or based on the code owner's configured and a couple of other factors it considers, to suggest the best people that will review your code. And a host of other, we also have things like summarizing MR changes, which a ton of time is spent in code review. So being able to have support or help from AI to be able to help summarize things or help you understand a very long discussion that has been happening within a merge request or an issue is a very, very valuable tool. Mike Taylor will dive more into this when he starts his own presentation. Now, I've only mentioned a few of the features that GitLab offers, but on this slide, you see the entire features that we provide to cover the entire software development lifecycle, from planning stage to create, to verify, secure, package, release, configure, monitor, and protect. So not just down to production, even after production, GitLab still enables you to be able to support your application, understand what your application is doing, and be able to start the whole process in case there's an error or an issue that has occurred. An issue is automatically created, a merge request is started, and collaboration starts all over again through the entire life cycle. So it's not just about code management, but ensuring that your code, your application is secure, and your organization is productive and efficient in building those applications. Now, next is the main focus of this webinar, which is building secure cloud development. And I'll be focusing more on the security policies and governance features of GitLab. Now, the application security features that GitLab offers include infrastructure as code scanning, using if you are using applications like or tools like Terraform, writing your Terraform plans and so on. You want to ensure that you are using the right providers, you are using the right configurations within your code, and you are not exposing your organization to things. Now, GitLab does IAC scanning for you, then static application security testing, down to secret detection, and a host of all the scanning that are done from the commit stage when the developer are committing the application to the build stage, like dependency scanning and container scanning. Once your container has been packaged and uploaded to the GitLab container registry, you want to ensure that it's packaged properly, it is secure. Now, down to deployment, you also still want to know that the container that is running in your cluster or in your production environment has not been compromised and is secure. So operational container scanning allows you to do that. Now, but all of this scanning, how do you ensure that you are fully aware as a developer, as a team, as a company, as a whole? That's where vulnerability management comes in. You want to be able to understand, oh, every vulnerability that is identified within your organization, so that you can be able to set policies, you can be able to set approvals and other things in place, or oversight in place to ensure that those vulnerabilities don't escalate. Now, let me show you in GitLab. For example, I'll be using GitLab.com for all my presentation today. Now, within GitLab.com, this is a top-level group on GitLab. And if in the left menu, you will see secure, And in the secure section, there's the security dashboard. Here, you'll be able to see trends of different vulnerabilities that have occurred within your organization in the last 30 days, in the last 60 days, in the last 90 days, which of them are critical, and so on. And you'll be able to see which of your projects have the level of severity in each of your projects. If you see here, there's a rating for A, B, C, D, E, F, while F is the most severe, has high severity, and A has mostly clean applications. Probably they don't have a lot of issues in them. Now you can see the status here. Now, where I wanted to show is vulnerability reports. Now, within this whole group, the group has several subgroups with projects. Now, you will see here it's showing within the whole group, we have 401 critical, and you can be able to see which ones are high, medium, and down to unknown. You can be able to see, okay, filter by the status. Maybe you just want to see the ones that have been resolved. And I remove these ones. Okay, these are the ones that were resolved. Now, which ones still needs triage? You can be able to filter to see that. You can filter by severity. You can filter to specific, okay, probably your role or the role of the person you're reviewing just wants to see secrets that have been detected. You can filter to see that. You see, an example here is password in URL. You want to understand where did this happen, in what part of the application did this happen, in what project. You can drill down to see that. This gives you a view in your entire team. Now, if you have GitLab installed, GitLab Ultimate installed in your self-hosted installed, you can be able to review at the instance level, not just at the group level. Now, let's go back to my slide. The next thing here is policy management. Now, oftentimes you want to, so you don't waste resources by running scans every time a push or a merge or something occurs. You can use policy management to add scans or add certain requirements, oversight requirements when certain actions are discovered. For example, scan execution policy. You want to decide, anytime a commit is made or a merge is made to a protected branch or to a certain part of your application, some scans should run, maybe secret detection or maybe container scanning and so on. Now, then scanning result policy is based on the result of a scanning that has been done, what policy should be implemented. And you can add, approval is needed from this. Or maybe when a new secret is detected, maybe you want to call in IT or you want to call in the security team to be able to come and review and probably implement some policies, further policies or remediation for the vulnerability that has been detected. Then also license approval. Yeah, with the way the IT world is now, a lot of organizations are very careful on what kind of licenses they use within their organization. So anytime probably a new dependency or package is added to the application and a license is discovered from a list that has been specified, a set of approval can be added to the application to ensure that the license is approved or not. Now, let me show you an example of this. Okay, yeah. This is a project I have here, and you can see here we already have a policy that is set. If you want to create a policy, you can click on, let me go back. Within your project, you can access it. You can access policies in the left menu under secure. Then you go to policies. Then under policy, you will see if you have existing policies, you see them here, or you can create a new policy. Now you can choose between scan result policy, which is what action should be performed based on the results of a scan that has been executed. Then we have scan execution policy, what scans should be executed based on certain requirements. Now let's see that of scan result policy first. Now you specify the name of your policy. Let's say OKE scan policy, for example. Then you set the rules. For example, like when the security scan, you can decide, okay, when security scan, then you can select all scanners or a specific scanner. Probably I want to clear all and just say secret detection runs against all protected branches and finds any vulnerability. Now, what action do I want to perform? I want to add 2 approvals from a certain group. Maybe I want to pick this group, for example. So we are saying here, let's say you want to call in your IT team or security team to come out to approve a merge request anytime a secret detection detects new vulnerabilities. It can be any, or it can be more than, let's say, 5 vulnerabilities that are secret detection. We want to call them in to approve. That means we are requiring 2 approvals, 2 people who must approve from this group before the merge request can be allowed to merge. Now, once you are done with setting up your policy, you can click configure and it will create a project within GitLab to store those policies. Now, but for scan execution policy, the way it works is you can run certain scans, or let's say I want to run container scanning, and you can specify what type of runner. Probably in your organization, you have different type of runner for ARM, runner for AI, runner for Kubernetes, runner for different architecture, or certain runners that have a lot of resources attached to them. You can set a particular scan type to run on a specific runner that has a specific tag, or you should just use anyone automatically if these conditions are met. For this condition triggers every time the pipeline runs for specific protected branches, or all protected branches, or the default branch, or all branches. Maybe you want any branch at all, this scan should run, or you want any protected branch. You want to ensure that the scan run against any protected branch. You can set that here, a default branch, or protected branches. But if you select specific protected branches, you can specify the name of the branch here. But in this case, we are using a wildcard. But I think you can just go for all protected branches. You can add as many conditions here as you want, or you can add more criteria to more actions. Oh, you want container scanning to run, or maybe you want secret detection also to run, or maybe you want DAST also to run. You can set all those and configure them so that anytime your project CI, once changes are made to your application, or the conditions are met, those actions are performed. Now, let's go back to the slide. Now, the next thing is compliance frameworks. Now, regulatory compliance and ensuring that organization meet compliance are very critical, especially in regulated environments like finance, like the medical fields, and so on. So GitLab provides compliance framework, which is a label that marks projects within your group or your organization that they are being set to meet this particular requirement, or they require this setup, they require more oversight before certain actions are performed. Now, then we also have compliance pipelines. Now, with specific compliance frameworks, you can specify that, okay, every project that has been marked to have a compliance framework requirement, certain jobs, CI jobs should run. So these CI jobs are run ignoring whatever CI configuration has been configured for those specific projects. But in certain situations, the compliance pipelines can be configured to still allow jobs specified within a project to run. Now, let me show you an example of this. If I go back to my group here, compliance frameworks are configured at the group level. Now, so if I come to compliance at the top level group in GitLab, so we have under secure menu, we have compliance center. Within compliance center here, you can see all the violations that are happening in this case, within this group. And you can see, you can set frameworks. You can see which projects are using which compliance frameworks. Now, in this case, I think in here, we only have this project, Secure Cloud Demo, OCI, is using GDPR. As a team lead or a security team or whatever role, and you have access at this group level, you can set certain framework for certain projects, and it is enforced on those projects. So you can say, let's say, you want to set SOC2 compliance for this or GDPR, or you want to create a new framework entirely. You can do that from here. Now, and to create new compliance frameworks, you can go to the settings general of the group, and you will see compliance frameworks. Under compliance frameworks, you can see the compliance frameworks that have been created, and you can create new ones. Now, like I said in the beginning, compliance frameworks are basically labels that mark your project. Where the action happens is the compliance pipeline configuration. Now, let's see an example of one like this GDPR. I think one of our team members created the GDPR label for this group and added a pipeline that he created for one of their jobs. Now, you see here, it has been configured that this GDPR compliance framework has these requirements, this compliance pipeline configuration, that every project that has the GDPR label added to it, this CI will run. So let's see what this looks like. Let me assess where this project is. Now, this is the project where it's hosted, and this is what the CI looks like. Let me increase my screen size so you can see. So basically what this is doing here is it's using GitLab CI templates to say, oh, you should add this particular CI for this project. You should add this secure dependency scanning. You should add secret detection. You should add SAST, license scanning, and so on. Then this last part is saying it should also allow any GitLab CI YAML file that is found within the project. So, for example, if we go to this project, it has its own CI here. This is its CI, but it doesn't have all the other jobs that are in the compliance pipeline. So what the compliance pipeline is saying here is it will run all the jobs that are being imputed from the compliance pipeline and also run the jobs that have been specified for the project itself. So, but if there is if that configuration is not added to the compliance pipeline, the CI of the project is ignored. So, but once this is added, it's more or less like includes the project CI pipeline in the jobs that will be run. Now, so that is how CI pipelines, compliance CI pipelines work. Now, the next things are, along with compliance, is understanding every activity that is being done within your organization, which is audit events. You want to know actions that are being carried out by every team member within your organization. So you have audit reports, you can be able to, you have auditor users, and you have your compliance center, which I showed earlier, where you can see the violations that are happening based on the compliance that you've specified, and so on. Now, we can access, under secure here, you can see audit events. Now you can be able to see, okay, what are the activities that are happening? What are some of the logs that are happening? And you can even set up streams. You can stream audit events to any third-party system where probably you have like a central system where you push all your logs to. You can set up streaming to those platforms. Now, then I'll go into a quick demo, show you one of the applications on how all these features are implemented. Now, to access the demo, you can scan this QR code for the demo project. I will still show this QR code at the end of the demo for any of you that wants a link to the project. Now, this is the project. This project is a simple Ruby on Rails application. Now, but one thing it does, it's using Flux, that's for GitOps, to push the application to the Oracle Kubernetes engine. Pushes the application, packages it, pushes it to GitLab container registry, and the container is deployed to OKE. Now, but some of the things that it does is the security features that I've been mentioning earlier. If we go to secure here and we go to the vulnerability report, we can be able to see that there are a ton of security vulnerabilities that have happened in the application, critical, high, and a ton of them. We can also see the dependency lists, all the dependencies that are included in the application, in the gem file, everything, and in the JavaScript file, everything is shown here. And you can see for each of them, which vulnerability are included in each of them. So your security team or quality assurance team can review this and be able to understand, okay, what needs to be fixed, or what policies need to be implemented. Now, then we have license compliance. All the licenses that have been detected within the application are listed here. So we are able to understand and know, okay, you'll be able to understand at every point in time all the licenses that are within your application. Now, then we talked about audit events also, be able to see every actions that have been, for example, I've been doing all this, including the IP address and so on. Then we have, you can be able to run on-demand scan. Maybe, okay, after you've discovered some vulnerability, you want to run more scans that are not triggered by whatever actions, you can do that also here. Then we saw this earlier, policies that are that have been added to the application. Now, but the main place where everything happens is where you can be able to access everything is under vulnerability report. And some of the things you can do is either to change the status, or maybe you fixed it or you want to mark it as a false flag and so on. You can be able to mark it also from here. Now, if we go to, for example, a merge request. Within your merge request, this is an example of a merge request. I was adding a text and an image to the product, to the project, and it's showing me here, license compliance detected 10 licenses from the source branch only. And you can be able to view here within the merge request widget, what are the issues without having to go to the security dashboard. You can go there, but you can still see all the vulnerabilities here. Then also here, you can see, these are all the vulnerabilities. Dependency scanning detected at least 25 new potential vulnerabilities. So the developer right from here can see, okay, these are some of the issues we have. And as a team lead or an organization, you can even enable security training. GitLab provides integration for security training right from the MR or the security dashboard, so that developers can be trained on specific errors. Let's pick this, for example. It's showing you the description of it, some of the things it identified, and which package brought it in. So, and from here, you can access the link to learn more about it. So security training is not enabled here. It will have provided more information to be able to educate the developer or the team on the vulnerability. Now, with AI, Taylor will be talking more about that later. You can even ask AI to explain this vulnerability, to tell you more about the vulnerability. Yeah, I don't have, the feature is not enabled here. So that's how the whole application is. So, and the way don't have much time left, but the way the application is configured, I'm using a manifest created here to deploy my application to Kubernetes. So this is the deployment that is being done, and it's pulling it from the GitLab registry. So I am in my application, I am using the GitLab auto build template to build my application automatically anytime a tag is created and push it to GitLab registry. So auto build is one of the features of auto DevOps that allows you to not have to rewrite CI from the beginning. So you can be able to use those auto DevOps jobs to run certain activities in your application. And once it builds, it deploys them to container registry. And you can see here, for every tag I create, it pushes a new version to the GitLab registry. And Flux picks that and deploys. Now, I don't know if there's any question. I think this is like the whole demo. You can learn more about how to configure Flux with GitLab from our documentation. We have an awesome tutorial on how to configure GitLab. In operate here, you see Kubernetes clusters. Yes, OKE demo. This is configured and connected to the OKE cluster. And anytime I make a change, it deploys to the cluster. I have my terminal here. So this is my terminal showing increase my font size. Yeah, but basically, kubectl gets nodes. I have a cluster on OKE with 3 nodes. And anytime a deployment is done, you can see my Flux logs here, showing how it's automatically remediating between my my project and the cluster. So anytime new container is pushed, it automatically pulls it and deploys it. So if I say kubectl gets deployments -n secure OKE demo. Now that's the R on OKE application that was deployed. And if you look at my project here, code repository, I will check manifests. Now you see this is the deployment that is deployed there. Yeah, so that's the my demo and presentation. I would share links to this project in the chat so you can all review it and be able to explore GitLab more. Now, I'll pass it on to, we'll stop sharing and pass it on to Taylor.
Awesome. Thanks for that demo. That's a good overview of GitLab. Now I'm going to give you just a quick overview of what we're working on at GitLab, bringing AI to the development lifecycle. We're calling this GitLab Duo. It's a suite of AI capabilities integrated directly into GitLab to power the DevSecOps lifecycle. One of the key things for us as we're integrating AI into our DevSecOps platform is that it's about much more than just coding. Developers spend only about 25% of their time actually writing code. And so we're building AI features across the software development lifecycle, from planning to organization of issues, to the creation of that code, the review, the security scanning, and the eventual merge and release of that code. All of these capabilities are being integrated across our SDLC. You've seen a good overview of the demo of what GitLab looks like across all of these stages, and I'll talk you now through a couple of the features that we're integrating. So focusing in on the creation of work to be developed. In the planning phase, we have 2 AI-based features generating issue descriptions and issue and epic summaries. As you're creating issues and planning the breakdown of what work you're wanting to develop, AI can help you generate those issue descriptions and summarize long, lengthy discussions on merge requests to help you get to the development faster. We're also in the process of releasing merge request capabilities that will leverage AI to do things like suggest code for you. Our code suggestions solution is in beta today. We'll take a look at that here in a moment. We also have a feature called code explanation that will let you use AI to explain code managed within GitLab to get an AI-generated explanation of code that you may not be familiar with. We also support suggested reviewers, which can help you find a reviewer who's well suited to review the code that you're creating. Once you've pushed code, we also have capabilities, including merge request summaries that can help you summarize your merge requests to make it easier for people to review them, as well as generating test cases for the code that you're pushing up in merge requests within GitLab. And then as you work through securing the code that you release, we also have a feature called vulnerability explanation that helps you remediate vulnerabilities. I'll give you a quick demo of that here in a moment. And then as you move into code review, as you review code, you can use AI to summarize that code as well. So let's take a look at some of these capabilities real fast. The first is suggested reviewers. This is available to all GitLab.com Ultimate customers. When you push a merge request up, we analyze that with a novel machine learning algorithm and use and generate suggestions of people who are likely to have relevant knowledge. And you saw earlier in the demo the setup of a variety of merge request push rules. This integrates with that completely so that you can see people who are code owners who meet your merge request rules and who cannot actually merge that code, so that you can have a more informed decision in terms of who is reviewing your source code. Next is code suggestions. This is currently in beta on GitLab. We support a variety of different languages. This works within a variety of different IDEs that integrate with GitLab. As you're writing code, you can use AI to generate source code to help you quickly generate the code that you're developing. This is also integrated with our code explanation feature. Any code that's hosted on GitLab, you can highlight and click the question mark to get an AI-generated explanation of that code. This will help you as you explore repositories that you may not be familiar with or find code patterns that you may not understand. You can use AI to help get explanations here. The final feature I'll look at is this vulnerability explanation that was touched on earlier. As you introduce code, it's common to introduce security vulnerabilities. We're now using AI to help you mitigate those. Today, this AI explanation will detail why a piece of code is vulnerable and help you move to remediate it. In the future, we'll automatically remediate vulnerabilities for you, but we're still in the early days of this feature as this is experimental. Overall, all of these capabilities are integrated across the GitLab platform, and they are holistically intended to help you, your developers, your security professionals, and your operations teams deploy faster with GitLab using AI-powered technologies. Overall, this is going to help make all of your users more productive, helping to understand issues and epics faster, write code easier, review code more efficiently, have better code reviews, and automate repetitive tasks. So overall, that's a quick overview of how we're integrating AI into the development lifecycle. And I think we'll now stop here and handle any questions that we might have.
Thanks everyone so much for joining us here today, and we hope to see you again next time.